So you're gonna read a text with Ms. Crandall and Ms. Gagos later, and my job this morning is to tell you a little bit about it to get you ready to read it. Okay. So here are the things I want to talk to you about. It's a little hard to see, but so this says Ellis Island. What does it say? One more time. What does it say?
Ellis Island.
Ellis Island. So have you heard of Ellis Island before? Okay. So Ellis Island is a place in the United States where a lot of times people would come when they came to this country for the first time. And they had to cross the border. How many of you remember reading Travels with Charlie, and there was something about a border? Anyone remember something about a border in Travels with Charlie? Almost everybody knows something about a border. So why don't you talk at the table for just a second, see if you can remind the people at your table what happened at the border. Go ahead and talk about it.
So the Canadian border wouldn't let Charlie into, well, John and Charlie into Canada because the dog didn't have the right papers and stuff.
And so it was like really complicated, right? Because he didn't really leave, but then he wouldn't come back. He couldn't come back in, right? Yeah. So crossing the border, kind of hard sometimes, right? Okay. Would you mind sharing that with everybody? Okay. All right. That was quick, but that's all we're going to do for now. So what's your name? Matthew, will you tell everybody what did you tell us about what happened at the border?
Well, John and Charlie went to the Canadian border, but they wouldn't let Charlie and John go through because Charlie didn't have the right registration and papers.
Yeah. So when you cross the border into another country, you often have to have some special documents. And a long time ago, people would come to the United States and they would go to Ellis Island. Where would they go? Ellis Island. I'm going to show you a little bit about Ellis Island so you can kind of get a picture of what Ellis Island is like. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a YouTube video that describes a little bit, shows a little bit about Ellis Island. I'm going to watch just a little section of it. There's this little boy here who's coming there for the first time. You can see all these people have to go through these lines and all kinds of things going on. This is the place they would come to the United States for the very first time. And they had to, this is like crossing the border, kind of like they had to do with Charlie and how it can be complicated sometimes. See, they're checking the boy to see if his health is okay, being really careful to make sure that everything is safe. So lots of documents, like Matthew was saying before, right? Like you had to have all these papers for Charlie. When people come to the US for the first time, they have to have all kinds of documents. When people came to the United States at Ellis Island, something would happen to people's names, okay? So I'm going to show you a little bit of this clip, a little more of this clip in a second. I want you to listen really carefully to what happens. The boy in the movie, this is from a movie. The boy in the movie, his last name is Andolini, okay? What's his last name? Andolini. I want you to hear what happens to his last name in the little bit that I'm going to show you. So he goes up to the desk and they ask him his name, and I want you to see what happens to his name. See if you can figure it out when we watch the clip. So listen carefully. So we're about to see it, okay? So there's a little boy going up to the desk. He's going to tell them his name. Watch what happens. Okay, so he said, my name is Vito Corleone, and the man said he's Vito Corleone from, Vito Andolini from Corleone, Sicily. What did they do to his name? What did the man write down? Yeah, what did he write down? They changed his name. So it used to be Andolini, and they changed it to Corleone. Right there, and they wrote it down. And after that, in the movie, that's the boy's name the whole movie. And that happened to a lot of people's families at Ellis Island. They would go to Ellis Island with one name, and then someone would write it the wrong way, or they'd change it, and all of a sudden they had a new name. And the story you're going to read with Ms. Gagos, Ms. Crandall, that's what happens to the girl's family. And she goes to Ellis Island to find out about it when she's many years later, and that happened to her grandfather. So that's the one thing I wanted you to know about the story before we read it. We learned something important about what happened when people came to the United States. What was the place that they went when they arrived? Everybody? They would go to Ellis Island. I want you to think for a second, what was the important thing that would happen to people's families when they got there? Think about the video. Tell the people at your table. What happened when the people went to different countries? What happened?
Their names would be changed, like they would be like misheard or they would be like written down.
Yeah, and sometimes people do it on purpose. They'd be like, no, I don't want to give you that name. Yeah, and so you want to tell us that? What was your name?
Sam.
Sam? All right, Sam, tell us what would happen.
People would make it be changed. Sometimes it was just like on purpose and sometimes it was just like a mistake.
Yeah, and so I mentioned that to Sam, that sometimes it was a mistake, like in the video, right? But sometimes they would actually do it on purpose. They'd be like, no, I want to give you, sometimes they give them like a more American name, and that's actually what's going to be in the story. So when you get to read this, you'll get to find out this girl's name is Emily Dalton, and you're going to get to find out what her name used to be.